ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पातञ्जलि प्राञ्जलिना नतोऽस्मि। हरि ओम। In the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the second pada, the second section, dealing with the sadhana, the methodology, is the subject under discussion. Elaborating through different bhashya, we have moved by about 28 sutras. Sometimes it so happens, and naturally so, that while studying any darshana, the depth and detailing required to create a firm foundation of the knowledge, without a firm foundation of the knowledge, which is basically the Shastra, no sadhana is possible. Why is it that we do not start right away doing pranayama or any yama niyama or any meditation or any of these methods, sadhana, right away? What is the reason why we study Bhagavad Gita and then start our sadhana? The reason for that is, unless Shastra base Paya Bhuta Jnana, unless it is firm foundation of Shastra with us, no sadhana can succeed. No doubt, walking on the correct path is required to reach the destination, but it is presupposed that we know the direction of the destination. The map of the place has to be in the hand, although map alone does not mean you can reach the destination. The cartographic details or the details of the map, if they are well known, all the wars are fought by generals in the on the conference table. The whole geography of the place is laid bare in the form of a map, and the generals decide what to do, how to attack, what strategy to adopt, and then the soldiers and the field commanders take it to the actional end. Similarly, in Adhyatma, there is a station called Shastra Krupa, which unless we have, we can't move on towards the next Krupa called Guru Krupa. So Shastra Krupa is a joining point between Ishwar Krupa and Guru Krupa. After many years of Punya Karma or Dharma, we get in our mind some thoughts about God. Why the hell in this world we should get up early morning at 5:30 and try to learn something about an abstract darshan or a darshan called Yoga Shastra when everybody else is sleeping, enjoying the sleep? Those who are sleeping and do not bother about knowing what is Patanjali Yoga Shastra or God or whatever, or salvation, emancipation, moksha, Atmadhyan, Brahmadhyan, Purusha Khyati, Vivek Khyati, etc., is because they do not have Hari Krupa. Because of our yesteryears, yester births, good karma, punya karma, the dawn is about to begin of the knowledge. So the traces or the telltale signs are seen in inclination of a person towards adhyatma or towards study of scriptures. Now mind well, you may be having a wish to study the Shastra, but not all are endowed with the sufficient amount of intellect to understand what the Shastra is. So Ishwar Krupa leads you towards the path of Shastra Krupa. But whether the Shastra Krupa will be there upon you or not depends upon the kind of Sattva Guna or the intellect that you have, which again is nothing else but accumulation of the previous Punya Karmas giving rise to Sattva Karma dominance. So Sattva Guna dominance, which itself means the finer and bright intellect, helps us to understand the Shastra. And this Shastra is required because once the Shastra is known, sadhana becomes crystal clear. Why did Gurudeva went to Tapovan Maharaj? It is not to go there and ask Tapovan Maharaj, I have come all the way from Kerala. Now you do one thing. I'm sitting here, touch my body and give me Atmadhyan. Doesn't happen that way, sir. He told him how to do Shastra Abhyasa. So Gurudeva went there, not that Gurudeva had not done Shastrabhyas before reaching there, but that Shastrabhyas was at a little lower level, but at a finer level, the foundational clearance of the fundamental aspects of Shastra of Jnana Yoga, Gurudeva learned at the feet of Tapovan Maharaj sincerely, seriously, as an ardent sadhaka. Once the Shastras were clear in the mind, then he decided to implement it, for which he sat in the meditation, and while doing the sadhana and implementing the Shastra, the obstacles that came were removed by the Guru called Tapovan Maharaj. And then what happened? Shastra Krupa was followed by Guru Krupa, and after Guru Krupa, he was able to hold on to his own light, own Atmadhnanam, Swa Anubhuti, and that is called Atma Krupa. And the journey was over. So Shastra Krupa being one of the major stepping stone towards Atmadhyana or moksha or mukti, we are trying to study one of the Shadadarshanas called Yoga Shastra, in which the pada that we are studying is a sadhana pada. Because the Shastra Krupa can only happen when we go into the absolute detailing of each and every nuances of that particular darshana, which exhausts the intellect, it gets polished on the basis of reasoning, so that each and every fundamental concept is clear in the mind, which helps in then drudhikarana or crystallization of sadhana. So in the sadhana path, when we started, it is better to recapitulate after completing 28 or after reaching 28 sutras. Otherwise, if we keep marching forward, it is quite possible that the buddhi releases the grip on whatever has been learned in the past, and then everything appears again as new as it was. The retainment in the buddhi of what is learned is also equally important, for which what is required is revision. You again see what you have seen, which is called Sihavalokana. So if we do the Sihavalokana of what we have done in Sadhana Pada, we started with Tapaswadhyaya Ishwara Pranidhanani Kriya Yogaha. Patanjali Maharaj said that now I am going to talk about the sadhana, methodology, practical aspect. He first clarified that there is something called Kriya Yoga, in which you do only Tapa, Swadhyaya and Ishwar Pranidhana, but it is meant for Madhyama or Ucha Adhikari. So Madhyam and Ucha Adhikari is one who is already into the practice of Yama Niyama and Ashtanga Yoga and has mastered that, and now is focusing only on the three. In other words, somebody has studied the subject called physics in undergraduate, then in graduate, then in postgraduate, and then he's doing PhD in physics. So somebody who is doing a PhD in physics is also called he is studying physics. But somebody who is undergraduate is also called he is studying physics. But there is a difference in the level and the depth of the study. So Tapaswadhyaya Ishwara Pranidhana comes in Ashtanga Yoga also, but that is at undergrad level, Manda Adhikari. But the one who has reached a PhD level, then he takes this 3 of the 8 in a different light, in a different depth, at a very high level. Such a person is called Madhyam or Ucha Adhikari, for which Kriya Yoga is meant. Then Patanjali Maharaj tells us that all this so-called sadhana, why are we doing it? This Kriya Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, all this sadhana, for what purpose? It is for Samadhi. Samadhi Bhavanartha. For the sake of Samadhi, we are doing all this. Why the hell we want Samadhi? What is wrong with the present state? Because the present state has klesha. We have troubles in this world. We are a troubled people. Had we not been troubled, why study Yoga Shastra? Enjoy. Be in the bliss forever. A person who is in bliss, why would he open Patanjali Yoga Shastra? The one who is eating mango, why would he struggle to go to the market to find a mango? He already has it. No struggle required. We don't have it. Absence of anandam, lack of bliss is a klesha. So samadhi bhavanartha klesha tanukaranarthascha. These kleshas that we have, these troubles that we have in this world, in order to loosen those troubles so that we can throw them away, we go to the school, and then there is a study, and the study is quite painful. So when you are in the school, you always feel that all this study, you have to remember, memorize, the teacher comes, if you don't do well, he will punish you, all this because you are in the school. So the school is having some issues. How can you get rid of this? Either finish the school so that you are no more in the school. That means you are trying to come out of the school victoriously with knowledge so that no more studying is required. Similarly, from the samsara, from this world, we are having so much of pain. Pain is called klesha. So if I am able to somehow mitigate this pain, this sorrow, this negative side, then what will happen? The world will be there only, but it is no more troubling me. Right now, the world is troubling me, is torturing me. Different story that some people do not even understand that they are getting tortured. They are enjoying the torture. But then for them, there is only one statement made by Jesus Christ that pardon them, they do not know what they are doing. Because manda buddhi, dull-witted, moodhamati, cannot understand. They feel what is wrong in this world. So nice, I'm getting a car, I'm getting a wife, I'm getting this. This is a falsity or Stockholm syndrome, as they call it. In medicine, there is a psychology or psychiatry, there is a syndrome called Stockholm syndrome. What is Stockholm syndrome? Suppose somebody is tortured every day, is beaten every day, is abused every day. Initially, there is a reaction, anger, etc. in the victim's mind. But after few months, the victim gets addicted to the abuse. So he feels restless if he is not abused. See the irony. Somebody who craves for being beaten, that is called Stockholm syndrome. So we are having this Stockholm syndrome in this world. We are getting thappad, slap after slap from the world, and yet we are enjoying the world. This is called Moodhamati. When Shankaracharya Bhagavan Bhagavad Pad says Moodhamati, Moodhamati means you do not even understand that you are in trouble, you are in torture, you are in pain. It's like a man who was trying to find out light, prakasha, in darkness. So he kept on going with the darkness here and there with the hope that he will get light. He cannot get the light because he is in darkness. He is in the opposite thing. Similarly, in sansar or the world, we are trying to find out bliss, which is not there, which cannot be there. Then what happens? Whenever there is lesser darkness, the person feels, oh, this is light. No, sir, it is less dark and more dark, but both are dark. That is why sukham, a little bit of sukham, is nothing else but dukkham only. Sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. We have elaborated this particular sutra of Patanjali Maharaj. The sutra is Sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. The one who is viveki understands even this car and this wife and the children and the enjoyment and everything is also dukkham. We saw also why it is dukkham, what are the reasons, etc. So the whole problem in this world is of klesha. In order to remove the klesha, samadhi is required. For the samadhi, sadhana is required. Kete kleshaha. Which are these kleshas? These are pancha kleshaha. Which are those? Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhiniveshaha, pancha kleshaha. We saw that pancha klesha are there and we want to remove them one by one. Then comes the question, oh, these are my enemies. Okay, where are they residing? First, I should know the nature of the enemies, then only I can annihilate them. Counter strategy, as Gurudev calls this. Gurudeva's word is, the enemies will have a strategy, we should have a counter strategy. What is the strategy of enemy? Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. This is the strategy. So first of all, to know the counter strategy, I must know where are those ripus or enemies staying. First is avidya. This avidya is nothing else but anitya, ashuchi, dukkha, anatmasu, saptami. In the anitya, ashuchi, dukkha, anatma thing, when I try to see nitya, shuchi, sukha, atma khyati, that is called avidya. In this impermanent world, when I try to see permanency, that is avidya. However we may theoretically discuss it, we are completely convinced that this world is existing. However we may study Advaita, Yoga Shastra, the very next moment, right now also when we are listening, that world is ephemeral. Even this statement also we say, yeah, it is ephemeral. But heart of heart, we know it is existing. It is true. This is avidya. Because everything which is not worth believing, worth keeping faith in, which is anitya, because world is anitya, vikara, it is all vikari. Ashuchi, Brahman is pavitra. Vikari cannot be shuchi. Full of dukkham, anatmata. But still we feel, no, this is right, this is correct, this is nitya, this is called avidya. Then what is asmita? Druk darshana shaktoho ekatmata asmita. Simple definition of asmita is, or ahankar is, druk darshan. What is seen and one who is seeing, they are one. What is seen, drushya, druk, the one who sees, they are one. That is asmita. They are not one. Drishyam is separate. The one that is seen is made possible to be seen by Druk. Electricity has propelled the fan. So electricity is power. It is separate. Appliance is separate. Appliance has got no value if it is not fueled, electrified by the electricity. Similarly, Druk, or the consciousness, is the one which is giving the force. Chaitanya, consciousness, is the thing which is completely separate, different, has got no interest in running the appliance. It just happened that the appliance and the electricity got combined. The wire got inserted in that particular motor. So the motor started spinning. What it means is druk, drushya, sanyoga. Suppose the electricity is there as it is. There are no appliances. What will happen? Nothing will happen. Electricity will remain where it is. Ganga is flowing continuously towards her destination. What will happen to Ganga? Nothing will happen. It will start from Gangotri and it will end in the sea. It will keep flowing. Nothing will happen. No, but I took the Ganga, little bit water from there and put it to my field and then sown some seeds there. Then the harvest will come. Yes, it will come. The harvest is because of Ganga water. But Ganga had no intention of creating an harvest, sir. The harvest happened because Ganga's water came, agreed, because without water, harvest cannot be there. But water of Ganga had no interest in putting the harvest. It was anyway flowing. Druk, drushas are different. Prakruti or Shakti is evolving on its own, that is fine. But Shakti is not a Shiva. Shakti depends on Shiva, all right. It's an inherent part of it. Identifying them two together, Druk and Drushya together, is Asmita or Ahankar. And in this Prakruti, then, whatever good happens, Sukhanushayi Ragaha, Dukkhanushayi Dveshaha. That what you don't like is Dukkha. That what you like is Sukha. So that is also a klesha. Sukha dukha same krutva labha labho jaya jayo. What is Sthita Prajna Lakshana? Sthita Prajna doesn't have Sukham and Dukkham aspect in this world. That means he's out of klesha. Sukham and Dukkham is our liking, Anukula and Pratikulata towards this world. I hate that man. I don't like him at all. Why? Dvesha. No, but he's a dacoit. He may be a dacoit, sir. He may be a dacoit. He is dacoit because of his own prarabdha, his inclination, his nature, his buddhi, whatever it may be. How are you concerned in hating him? What maximum you can say is the act that he is doing is not a good act. Yes, you can say that. Sin is bad, but you are hating the sinner also. Why you are hating the sinner? You are hating the sinner because you have a klesha. You don't like him. Likes and dislikes. In this world, there cannot be like and dislike. Oh, you mean to say you like everything? No, sir, not even like. Oh, no mixture of like, dislike. There is no like and there is no dislike. Sarvatram ekatvam anupashyati yastu sarvani bhutani ishavasya. What is ekatva? Nothing in this world is creating any reaction in my mind. You look at this neighbor's son, you feel good, nice. You look at your son, nice. You look at the bad boy of the another neighbor, nice. Doesn't happen that way. My son is the nicest of the fellow. Neighbor's son is a completely bad boy, likes and dislikes ingrained in the mind. Why go so far? Even the discussion, that particular gentleman who is talking in satsang, I don't like him. He's quite boring. He doesn't, sir, he is speaking. You may not like it. But immediately when you say, I don't like the way he talks, his nirupan is not good, you become judgmental. Becoming judgmental is like and dislikes. In our own satsanga in Bhagavad Gita on Friday, people keep commenting, they talk about 2 lines or the shlokas that way. Some of them may not be speaking with that much of erudite or scholarship. Quite possible. Some people in their own way, they try to interpret. What Gurudeva said, let everybody speak. And what we do, when somebody starts speaking, he always not sticking to the topic. He keeps hovering here and there, talks something nonsense. You started immediately like and dislike, justifying everything right in the satsang of Bhagavad Gita, we do this. We have dukha and sukha in Bhagavad Gita class itself, in our session, in our satsang itself. So sukhanushayi ragaha, dukhanushayi dveshaha, Swarasavahi vidusho api tatha arudo abhiniveshaha. The 5th klesha is abhinivesha. Abhinivesh means fear of getting over, fear of getting lost, fear of dying, fear of losing the existence. We are always worried about loss. What if I die? What if I lose my money? The anxiety to lose is abhinivesh. You are the one and the only and always and permanent, without beginning, without end, never ending. All these Saparyagat, Shukram, Shuddham, Asnavaram, Avranam, Swayambhu, Paribhu. How much description has been given about Atman in Ishavasya Upanishad? You are all that. Then still you are feeling what will happen? 20 years are left now. I will be dying. Another 10 years, sir. This we have to leave one day. This COVID has come, you never know. Tomorrow you may die. See, all is in the hands of God. We are taking the name of the God, but we are afraid inside. Afraid for what? I don't want to go. Let everybody go. If somebody else dies, oh, what to do? It is the nature's law. You have to come and go. You have to die. Actually, we go and console others. We are not consoling others. We are consoling ourselves. What? You will not go. Others are going. Because going is what we don't like. Lack, loss of existence, astitva, prashna. No, we don't like it. That is abhinivesha. Now, when this abhinivesha is there, then question comes that if abhinivesha is what we are trying to avoid, then we should be doing one thing. Remove these kleshas, abhinivesha will also go. So all these 5 kleshas, what are they? Each one by one we studied in Sadhana Path. This is just to make the foundations strong. Because of these 5 kleshas, we are existing. Otherwise, we have no reason to exist. Somebody who doesn't have avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesha has no role to play in this world. He is gone. He is not required to come in Prakriti anymore. That means we are in Prakriti. Prakriti is giving us 5 types of kleshas. From where these kleshas came? From the karma. So Patanjali Maharaj brought the karma now. Klesha mulaha, at the root of the klesha, karma ashayo. Collection of karma is the reason for the klesha. You must know the leader of the gang. So once the leader is killed, the gang members are automatically disbanded. So for the 5 kleshas, instead of working on each klesha, you take the axe towards the root. The root is klesha mulaha karma ashayo. Drushta adrushta janma vedaniya. The present one or the one which is going to come. Because you might think that the karma shaya is only for this birth anyway. Somehow I will have this birth and then class, I am out of klesha. No, sir, there is another karma shaya waiting. Oh, that means it is the karma shaya. Klesha is because of karma. Karma is in karma shaya. Karma shaya is present and as well as future. And because of that future karma, what will happen? The karma that is going to ripen in future, what will happen? Sati mule tad vipako jati ayu bhogaha. Jati means I will be born. Ayu means for a certain period. And during that period, there will be some amount of enjoyment, both good, bad, whatever. So that means there is something called consciousness in the form of Chitragupta or whatever, or Ganesh Maharaj is sitting. He is having a small thing in his hand. Every person who is coming from the left side, he gives in his hand saying that, okay, take this. This is Jati Mula and Jati Ayu and Bhoga. What is it, sir? This is your birth. Which birth you will go is written here. What will you have in that birth? That is written here. And how long you will have that birth? That is also written here. Open your chitti, open your paper, and sir, then what do I do after that? Once you finish this particular paper, come back to me. I will give you another paper. So from the ballot box, one by one, Ganesh Maharaj keeps giving us this. Sati mule tad vipako jati ayu bhogaha. Then only the mudhamati, they take this particular paper, come in this world and start enjoying. And then start saying that now I'm feeling better. You know what? My son is now well settled. I have got enough money. Now I feel, Bhagwant has done a lot of krupa on me. Why? Because I'm having my own villa. I'm having 2 my cars and things are very fine. And all of a sudden the son meets with an accident and then you feel bad. Why me alone in this world? My son met with an accident. So the sukha gets replaced by dukkha. All that happens. And still we say, I want only sukham and not dukkham. Why? Because we feel sukham is good. But Sukham is not good because there is no difference between Sukham and Dukkham. There is only Dukkham. Buddha Maharaj, Siddhartha Gautam Buddha Maharaj, he gave fundamental truths about the world. And the first truth is world is full of sorrow. He didn't say world is full of a happiness and sorrow. He said world is full of sorrow. Now, such a big Mahatma, when he is saying that there is sorrow, is it not that he had seen happiness? He was a prince, richest person, having all amenities. Raja Shuddhodhan gave all the amenities to the son Siddhartha. Then why is he saying that the world is full of sorrow only? Because what appears as Sukha is also Dukkha. That is why Dukkham Sarva Eva Vivekinaha. That is what we learn. Then, after studying this much, Patanjali Maharaj came to Heyam Dukkham Anagatam. He gave a fundamental thing. Sir, you are having Dukkha. Did you understand that? There is no Sukha in this world. Did you understand? No, sir, but I saw some Sukha. No, you are stupid. What Sukh you thought is nothing else but Dukkha in another garb or form. So first take it fundamentally in your head that the world that I am in is full of sorrow. Agreed. Sorrow is because of klesha. Agreed. Klesha is because of karma. Agreed. Karma always accumulates in the form of karma ashaya. Agreed. Now all you have agreed? Yes, Patanjali Maharaj, I agreed that. Okay, now let us come to the point. What can be done? So Patanjali Maharaj then gives Yoga Shastram Chaturvyuham. Chaturvyuha. Vyuha means Rachana. In the army has a Vyuha. In Mahabharata there is a Vyuha Rachana. Arranging the armies so that you understand completely. The complete understanding comes. So Yoga Shastram Chaturvyuham. Yoga Shastra has a Chaturvyuha. There are 4 things in Yoga Shastra. What are those? The comparison has been made with a person who is having a thorn in the soul and is having pain. Now the person who has pain because there is a thorn in his foot, what he says, I am having pain. So that is called heya. Heya means what is happening? Pain is happening. Sorrow is happening. Dukkham. So in the world, what is tyajya? What is removable? Dukkha. And in this person, what is removable? Dukkha, pain. He's having pain because of the thorn. And we are having pain because of this thorn. Deha is nothing else but Deha Dharana is thorn. That is why we are having this Dukkham. So we want to get rid of Dukkham in this world. We don't want to get rid of the world. Remember, Lord has created the creation. It is not your job to dissolve this particular universe or the creation. The creation will continue. The creation is giving me Dukkham. That is only what you want to remove. Let the world be where it is. Don't try to restructure it. We are not restructuring anything. We are restructuring ourselves. The fire will continue. You are getting burned, so you go out of the fire. The fire will continue. So the world will continue because it's not meant for you at all. First of all, you didn't create it. So you can't stop it. Once you are out of this world, then the world will not matter for you. You may say that world is illusion. There is no world. Fine, because you are not in the world. Okay. But the world is not to be destroyed. It is apparently dissolved for you. So the Dukkham, the person who is having a thorn is having Dukkham. So his first priority is to get rid of Dukkham. So what is to be get rid of is called Heya. Our Heya is Dukkha Parimarjan. Sampurna Karana Sahit Dukkha Nivrutti is the aim, goal, objective of sadhana. Any marga you take. One liner is Karana Sahit Dukkha Nivrutti. There is nothing else any of the margas tell you. Do whatever you, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti, all this for what? Karana Sahit Dukkha Nivrutti. Karana Sahit means It shouldn't be temporary. The cause has to be removed. So heya, something that should be removed, is called heya. So what is heya in Yoga Shastra? Dukkha is heya. And if you want to remove dukkham, you must know what is the reason of dukkham. That is called heya hetu. What is the person who is having thorn? What is the reason of his pain? Thorn is the reason. So he had pain because of thorn. We have dukkham because of what? Heya hetu. What is the reason why we are having dukkham? Drashtu drushayo sanyogo heya hetu hi. Druk and darshana sanyoga. Whatever is being seen in this world is me. I am seeing it. Chaitanya in me is enabling me to be in this Prakriti. But I am not able to decipher the Chaitanya. I am myself consciousness. Right now, all of you, me, all, who are we? We are Chaitanyam. But is the thought coming to the mind? No. What is thought coming to the mind? Oh, Himanshu ji, Pradeep ji, Dr. ji. Why? Identifying with the Prakriti, not with the consciousness. Entire city is out of lights. Why? Electricity is gone. How do we say electricity is gone? We don't say electricity in A house and B house and C house and D house is gone. No, we say electricity is gone because it is one. And moment we say appliances are not, we say refrigerator is not working, fan is not working, microwave is not working, washing machine is not working. You can have different appliances. In Prakriti, you can speak of different things. But in consciousness, it is one. But when consciousness and its manifestation is considered as one, you get dukkham. In other words, inability to separate Chaitanyam from the object, or Chaitanyam from the Prakriti, or Purusha from the Prakriti. Inability to see Purusha and Prakriti as separate and always viewing them as combined, Druk Darshana Sanyoga, is the reason for the dukkham. So, he hetu, we understood. Now, what is the important thing? What is the upaya? Remove the thorn is the upaya. So, what do you remove? Remove Druk Darshan Sanyoga. That means work towards separation of Purusha and Prakriti. Abolition of this Sanyoga of Purusha and Prakriti. The reason why I am not able to separate, because I consider Purusha and Prakriti as one, the Sanyoga as one. Why do I do that? Because I don't understand. I don't have the knowledge to see them separately. Not having the knowledge to see Purusha and Prakriti separately is avidya. So it is called avidya. So what is Han to be destroyed? Avidya is to be destroyed. When Han or avidya is destroyed, the Heya Hetu will be gone. That means Druk Darshan Sanyoga will be gone and He will be removed. Dukkha will be removed. Once this is done, then we should know what is Hanopaya. What is the Upaya? And Upaya, Patanjali Maharaj says, Viveka Khyati is Upaya. You must develop Viveka Khyati. What is Viveka Khyati? Khyati is you must get into the mode whereby you will be able to see. Now that seeing is not by the eyes. So it is Pashyati, Anubhuti. Intuitively, you should be able to separate this Purusha and Prakriti, or consciousness and the Maya. That is Hanupaya. That is the Upaya. Then we spend some sutras on understanding what is Drashta and Druk, or what is different types of Drusha, the Vishesha, Avishesha, Linga, Alinga, Guna Parvani, that we saw in detail. Then Drashta, Drushimatra Shuddha, Api Pratyaya Anupashyaha. Consciousness is a pure thing, but appears through the Pratyaya, through the experience. Right now you are able to hear me and I am able to talk. I say I'm talking because of I am talking, My mouth and my articulating apparatus is helping me to talk. You say I'm able to hear because I have a ear to hear. We are giving credit to the Prakriti, which is absolutely insentient. This man sitting in front and talking is as good as a log of wood if he is not infiltrated by the consciousness. But I am not able to see it. Why? There is no Purusha Khyati. The separation is not visible. Tasya hetu avidya. Because of avidya. Tad abhavat sayog abhavo hanam tadrushehe kaivalyam. If that avidya is destroyed by viveka khyati, then kaivalyam will be there. Kaivalyam means Purusha will be seen separate, Prakriti will be separate. As per Sankhyas, that means there will be Brahma Jnanam and the Maya will be destroyed according to Advaita. And in that Kaivalyam, then you will be going towards the final destination. Now comes the sutra. Such a person who has reached the stage, so far we saw in just whatever is so far studied in Sadhana Pada. Then coming to the philosophical end of the philosophical discussion, because now Ashtanga Yoga is going to start. Yama, Niyama, etc., which normally we are very much interested, for which the philosophical basis is now coming towards conclusion. The 27th Sutra says, Tasya Saptadha Prantha Bhumi Pradnyaha. Just before starting the Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali Maharaj gives a glimpse of a person who has reached the stage of Viveka Khyati or Purusha Khyati. Gurudeva reached the level of Viveka Khyati, but he was amongst us. And then we say, you know what, Gurudeva had a fantastic buddhi. His memory was excellent. He was very intelligent. All these statements are stupid statements. Stupid because we are seeing him from our angle. It is like an ant saying a giant Hanumanji, he is a powerful person. You don't know what power is. Our concept of our buddhi is so small. So to give a glimpse of what kind of buddhi these people have, the one who is Jivan Mukta, Gurudeva's stature, Vivekananda Maharaj, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Maharaj, what buddhi they had, first of all, it is called Pradnya. And what kind of Pradnya they have? Tasya Saptada Pranta Bhumi. Their intellect is on a plane exhibiting 7 types of qualities. Pranta means what? Pranta Bhumi. Prakrushtaha, Utkrishtaha, Antaha. The best of the best and the end of everything. The top of the top. That is called Pradnya. Pranta Bhumi. That which is Antim Koti is called Pranta Pradnya. So these Jivan Muktas, the Purusha Khyati people have Pranta Bhumi Pradnya. And what about our Buddhi? Our Buddhi is called Laukika Buddhi. And it is Vividha Rupa. Our Buddhi is called Laukika Aneka Prakara or Vividha Rupa. Example, when I think of a pain, my Buddhi is thinking of the pain, one Rupa. Now I am thinking of a wristwatch, another Rupa. So this is called Laukika Buddhi. You get experience of the pain, then experience of the watch, then experience of food, then experience of a beautiful damsel going on this. What is happening? Fragmented Buddhi. Buddhi attached to one Vishaya. And when it is in one Vishaya, other Vishayas are gone. Because what? Simultaneously, all the Vishayas in the world are not known to us. Why? We have a stupid, small, Santa Buddhi, limited intellect. And in that limited intellect, people come and appreciate you. He's such a well-studied man. He was an IAS officer earlier, and he's a doctor, and he speaks well and all that. What a stupidity we do of ourselves. Our buddhi is so small. It can do only one thing at a time. So it is not a Pranta Bhumi Pradnya. Gurudeva had Pranta Bhumi Pradnya. Means what? simultaneity of knowledge of everything at one time. What happens because of that? Nothing goes wrong. Gurudeva never committed mistake. Meaning what? There is no question of mistake, sir. Everything is illuminated. Why would you fumble with something? In darkness you fumble. Our buddhi is like a torch. Wherever the light is there, that much only we see. Rest, everything is dark for us. This is the difference between Pranta Bhumi Pradnya of Jivan Mukta and our Laukika Buddhi. So what are these 7 special characteristics of this Pranta Bhumi Pradnya? Saptadha. The sutra is saying Tasya Saptada Pranta Bhumi Pradnya. Saptada means there are 7 types or 7 peculiarities of this Pradnya. One is Heyam. Heyam means the Jivan Mukta's intellect or Pradnya understand that the whole world is Dukkhamaya. Constantly they are aware of it. So they are in the water, but they are aware that this water has got a current and it can pull you inside and you may get drawn in that. Then what happens? That doesn't mean that they can't come in water. They come in water, but they don't get drawn because they're constantly aware where the eddy currents are there, where you can go into the whirlpool. So first of all, their pradnya, and they don't take any efforts for that. It automatically, sahajavastha, the pradnya is of that type. That is why in front of Gurudeva, the money came, Kanchana, Kamini, so many women, everything came. Nothing happened. And nothing will happen. Why? To happen, you have to be in a Laukika Buddhi. He was in Pranta Pradnya Bhumi. Second is Heya Hetavaha. They are constantly aware of avidya creating this particular samsara. But their avidya is Dagdha Bija, no sprout coming. So, no vikar. Constantly basking in bliss of moksha, mokshanubhuti, nirodha samadhina. So, through Viveka Khyati, they are into siddhata of pradnya. So that is why they are called Siddha Purush. Siddha Purush means his pradnya, intellect, buddhi is constantly at a level where continuous awareness is there that this world is full of avidya, it is dukkhamaya, and I am not into that. Once they know that I am not into that, then a very important question comes. What is the important question? The important question is, what do I do in this world? Once I know this is just a juggler's play, magician is doing some work and I am watching, then what is my role into that? There is no role left. So it is called Kruta Krutyata. Jivan Mukta is Kruta Krutya. So if you ask Gurudeva, what is the point in you doing all this jnana yajna? You think everybody will get enlightened, etc. Gurudeva says, I don't know. That is not my concern. I have nothing left to do. But sir, you are taking jnana yajna. How can you say you're not nothing left to do? No, I am not doing anything. Jnana yajna is something that is happening as a divine law, as a divine work. I'm just going with the flow of the time. I did not come out with the master plan of Jnana Yajna sitting in air-conditioned office of Delhi so that so many people will then respect me. I will publish so many books. There will be a Chinmaya Samstha, etc. No. In Gurudeva's world, I shall pass under your balcony like a breeze of wind. If you want to take the coolness of the breeze, put your hand in the breeze and feel the cold. I have no business to give you cold or the breeze feeling. I am a breeze that is flowing under the balcony of your houses. So Kruta Krutyata. They always have Chitta Mukti. Chitta Mukti means Yoga chittasya chitta vritti nirodha. There is no chitta. So vrittis cannot come. And when vrittis are not there, there is no question of nirodha. You have already reached. Then what about the gunas of Swamiji? Was Swamiji Trigunatita? If he was Trigunatita, then how he is working here with Satoguna? Because without Rajoguna he was sleeping, so Tamoguna was also there. And the person with Purusha Khyati is Gunatita. All the gunas are lean in Avyakta. So if Sattva Rajatama is lean in Avyakta, you can't work. Because without Guna, you cannot be in Prakriti. Gurudeva was in Prakriti. He was Trigunatita. He was in Gunas. Sir, how can there be a mix of these two? Arjuna, Nistraigunyo Bhava and Yuddhasva. Is it not contradictory? You become Nistraigunyo and then use Rajaguna to do the fight. The clue lies in the fact that you are aware that you are Trigunatita. You are not interested in money, let us say. Does that stop you from handling the money? In our life, we say God gives us money and it is meant for distribution. So you take the money and you distribute it. That means you are handling the money. But is money captivating you? No. Why? You are beyond money. Similarly, by becoming Nistraigunya, gunas will not affect you, but that doesn't mean you cannot meddle with the gunas. See, there is some deep subtlety in this. For use of guna, I don't have to be essentially commanded by the guna. I can command the gunas. So the money that I'm handling, I have no interest in it. But still I can handle the money, no problem. Let the money come, let it get distributed. I will throw the money, I will receive the money because I have nothing to do with the money. You get into a huge crowd on the road, you have nothing to do with the crowd, but you go with the crowd. It doesn't stop you. That is how gunas, you are away beyond the gunas, yet you can handle the gunas. That is because that gunas are not binding to you, because that the binding glue or the material is chitta. The chitta itself is mukta. This is called charitakara buddhihi. Chitta vimukta rupini pradnya. An intellect which has no chitta, only buddhi. So using the three gunas as and when required. So Gurudeva needed whatever little sleep, 1 or 2 hours. He took 8 tamoguna. He called tamoguna, come here, I want to sleep, no problem. He slept. That is how these people have gunas at command. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, anybody who was taking interview, suddenly he would say, can you give me 5 minutes? I want to sleep. And he would immediately sleep. Within exactly in 5 minutes, he used to get up. What was happening? Trigunatita calling the gunas as and when required. Now, after studying so much, how do I then get this so-called Pirusha Khyati or Viveka Khyati? And the 20th mantra says, Yogang Anushtanat Ashuddhi Kshaye Jnana Diptihi Viveka Khyatihi. Now, Mahatmaji Maharaj is coming to the practical, so-called practical part of the yoga. Yoga Anga Anushtanat. Yoga Anga means Ashtanga, because it is of 8 types. Yama, Niyama, Dhyana, Dharana, Pratyahara, etc. Pranayama, Asana. We are going to come in detail, we are going to study that. So, Yoga Anga Anushtanat, if you follow Yoga Anga or Ashtanga Yoga, Ashuddhi Kshaya. Ashuddhi means avidya. Avidya Kshaya will be there. And then Jnana Diptihi, Viveka Khyati. What is Jnana Dipti? Moment you start following the Ashtanga Yoga, the light will start coming from inside. Antar Prakash. And that Antar Prakash is your guide. Nothing from outside will guide you. Outside is closed. Antar Prakash will start coming. That means you will get new and new experiences of Sattva Guna, of Jnana. And then with every stage, it will be more brighter and brighter and brighter till it reaches the final brightness called Viveka Khyati. So Jnana Diptihi means ever increasing level of effulgence. The light becomes more and more effulgent. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Bhargaha means effulgence. Understand now why Gayatri Mantra is so critical. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Prachodayat means Prakarshena Chodayati. Means what? The light, the intensity, the luminosity of the light keeps on increasing. Higher and higher realms of consciousness are. There are different ways of describing same thing. Larger and bigger light, power and powerful light, higher and higher realm of consciousness, till it reaches the sun, the ultimate source of light, the final maximum brilliance of light. So brilliant is the light that you become the light. Viveka Khyatihi. It is Antar Prakasha, Jnana Kaksha Vistar. What is happening is Jnana Kaksha Vistar. So that is how we reach that stage. That is why our Vedic Arti says, Na tatra suryo bhanti na chandra tarakam nemo vidyuto bhanti kute ayam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarva tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. Bha is Prakash, knowledge, consciousness, Sattva Guna. It keeps on increasing. That is called Jnana Dipti till it reaches Viveka Khyatihi. And Viveka Khyati is the final destination for, it is the final destination for any yogi. Once you reach Viveka Khyati, the destination is done. So now, after studying so much, Patanjali Maharaj is giving the final discourse from 29th Sutra on Ashtanga Yoga. Now we'll start Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, and Samadhi, and mind well. Patanjali Maharaj is telling that this is meant for Manda Adhikari. Why? If you are not Ucha Adhikari or Madhyama Adhikari, then go to Kriya Yoga. Needless to say that we are Manda of the Manda Adhikari. So for us, it is very critical to understand Ashtanga Yoga. Each aspect of Ashtanga Yoga, Yama Niyama, we are going to study in detail, because that is required part of practical sadhana that we'll be doing. Same Ashtanga Yoga in different names is existing at other places, not much difference. Shamadama, Adi, Shataka, etc. we say there, it is coming from here. There is not much difference in there, just a technical difference. So studying Yoga Shastra, am I going against Advaita? Do not think so. Anybody who finds differences in different darshanas is a fool of a very high order, because Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, the truth is one, is told in a style and method by different people. So we are not doing any crime by studying Yoga Shastra. I am doing Raja Yoga, I am going against Jnana Yoga. These are all stupid explanations or ideas in the mind. We should not have it. Let us have open mind. And with the next session, let us start with the 29th Sutra. which deals head on the Ashtanga Yoga. Hari Om. Om Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Namadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om Sanjay ji. Just wait if someone has some clarifications.
Hari Om Sanjay ji. This Kriya Yoga is also coming under Yoga Sutra, Patanjali Yoga Sutra?
Exactly, that is the first sutra we studied in Sadhana Path, Kriya Yoga. Tapas Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga is the first sutra that we studied in detail at the beginning of Sadhana Path. It is a part of Yoga Shastra. Hari Om.
No, when you say that Kriya Yoga is Ucha Buddhi is saying, so this is coming before or, I mean, it should come after this Mandhadigari stage, no?
See, Atha Yoga Asanam is the first sutra of the first pada. What is Atha? Atha means the one who is prepared is now coming for Yoga Shastra. We are absolutely hopeless adhikari and we are trying to directly study Yoga Shastra. In the olden days, you were studying all other Shastras, doing sadhana. You had already done what is called as Mala Nivrutti. Chitta Shuddhi is complete. You have also started practicing meditation. So the Vikshepa is very much under control. Such a student is supposed to start Yoga Shastra. Atha, now. So that now is meant for person who is approaching Yoga Shastra is already at a certain level, presumably. That is why Patanjali Maharaj directly started describing Samadhi. Because one who has already reached the base camp of Mount Everest, he is to be told only about how to scale Mount Everest, the last part, and it is meant for them. So Atha Yoga Anushasanam immediately is followed by Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha and the whole Samadhi discussion. So Kriya Yoga was coming earlier because Samadhi Pada is meant for those who are into the Ucha Adhikari. Kriya Yoga then is coming that in case you are not Ucha Adhikari, then for Madhyam and little bit Ucha Adhikari, Kriya Yoga is there. And then for rest of the lot, where we fall, comes the Ashtanga Yoga. And they are called Manda Adhikari. And mind well, Manda Adhikari means one who has done complete removal of Mala from his heart. He's a Chitta Shuddha. We are not even there. That is why all rest, everybody paraphernalia falls under Manda Adhikari. Manda Adhikari is one who is absolutely papi, one who is trying to become Chitta Shuddha, one who has developed Chitta Shuddhi but not to optimum extent. All those will first try Ashtanga Yoga. If Ashtanga Yoga is Phaladrupa, that means once you are done with Ashtanga Yoga, you become Madhyama Adhikari, then you start Kriya Yoga. With Kriya Yoga, you become Ucha Adhikari, then you require only one Padam, Sadhana, Samadhi Padam. Then you go towards the higher levels of. That is why Gurudeva's case, he had already reached the stage of Ucha Adhikari in his yester births. So we always see the biography and stupidly believe that, oh, all he did is he went from here to there, and within, I'll tell you, 1 year, he achieved. It is not 1 year, sir. Umpteen efforts has been done by him earlier. Why do you think Chatambi Swamigal was talking to him when he was a child? Because he realized that this child is a prodigious child. He has already done his work in the past. So he was a Ucha Adhikari. He was already a tank of inflammatory material waiting for a spark to explode. Our problem is we are a wet fodder. No fire can take place. So we have to work on that. That is why Ucha, Manda and Madhya Adhikari. This is how the structure has been made. And structure is made from presuming that one who is coming is a Ucha Adhikari. That is how Patanjali Maharaj started. If not Ucha, then Madhya. If not Madhya, then Manda. We expect that it should start from Manda and go towards Ucha. Patanjali Maharaj says other way around because he is expecting, because Yoga Shastra is studied by accomplished people. Why do you think Prasthana Trayi, these three books are given? Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be studied last. After you have understood Brahma Sutra and Upanishad, then you study Bhagavad Gita. But what are we doing? Reverse way. First Bhagavad Gita. What about Upanishad? God knows. What about Brahma Sutra? Never seen. Definitely this we are doing. Hari Om.
Sanjay ji, I had a question, but you have already answered it now. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji, you had talked about the 7 types of intellect.
Yes.
I missed it. We started with Heyam. You said Heyam, Heya, Hetava.
Yes.
Little explanation of that. Siddhanta, Siddhata, Prajna.
Yes.
Krita, Krutayata. Then Chitta, Mukti. That's 5. 6 and 7 I missed. I couldn't follow completely.
Yeah. See, these first of all, we should understand that these 7 that we are talking about, these are not the different types of prajna. These are 7 different types of, you can say, the characters of the prajna of such a person. That is why it is called Saptada Pranta Bhumi Prajna. Intellect of that kind is called prajna. That intellect is also called Pranta Bhumi. Pranta Bhumi means Utkrushta, the end, Antima Koti. Now, what are those 7 characters that it exhibits? One is Heyam, means constantly aware of destruction of that this world is full of dukkham. Heya Hetavaha, they are constantly aware of avidya, so they are able to not get trapped into avidya. Third is Mokshanubhuti, continuous anubhuti of moksha, that he is free from Maya, he is free from Prakriti. That continuous anubhuti is there. Then Viveka Khyati Rupa Hanopaya, that means because they are Siddha, Viveka Khyati being constantly there, they realize that in this world they have nothing much to do. In fact, there is no role to do. Then what is the role left for them? God, when it created Prakriti, he must be having some purpose, prayojan. They flow with that provision. For example, Ganga or the water is there any prayojan in water to flow? Flowing is the nature of water. If you ask water, why are you flowing? He will laugh at you. He will say, I am water, I flow. So what if you ask God, why are you creating this world? He will say, it's my Shakti, it comes. Now these people who are called Kruta Krutya, they have nothing much to do in this world by themselves, because they are one with the Almighty, they are one with the Purusha, so they flow with the Purushas. So that is why there is no Kruta Krutyata. There is no fulfillment left to be done for them. So these are 4 different types of pranta they have. Remaining 3 are of Chitta Mukti nature. One is Charitakara Buddhihi. Charitakara Buddhi means Chitta Vimukta Buddhi. The Buddhi that doesn't have Chitta. There is no memory. Gurudev never carried any memory with him of whatever happened in the Jnana Yajna. He knew what happened, but he did not cling to that. That's why anybody coming to him and saying that, Gurudev, today you spoke very well, he used to also say, yeah, I spoke very well. I also liked it. What is the meaning? The one who spoke is different. That one who spoke liked himself, but I am not he, one who spoke. It's a very deep meaning in whatever he said. Charitakara Buddhihi, the Buddhi that is free from Chitta. Second is Guna Vimukta, never under the spell of gunas, yet using the gunas. And the last is Etasyam Avasthayam. That means Buddhi Kruta Samvedana is not there. Whenever they see a pain, they say a pain as a pain. It doesn't create any, they know this is pain, but this does not create anything in the mind. Let us say this, you see a lady. What happens? She's a lady. That's your primary knowledge. But no, that doesn't come to our mind. Our mind goes flying somewhere, looking at the lady. Where does it fly? Because you identified with it. Chitta came into the picture. Because these people have Chitta Mukta, they see a thing as it is. So when a lady comes, they see consciousness came. Tukaram Maharaj, whenever he saw a lady, he said, Paravai Nara Rukumayi Samana. Any lady coming, you say, Rukmini, you came. Every lady was a Rukmini. Every person is a Krishna. This is called Etasyam Avasthayam. 7 Saptada Pranta Bhumi Prajna. Hari Om.
Sanjay ji, Hari Om. This is in the Vivekananda Swami's explanation. Is it slightly different terminology?
Yes.
Okay.
See, I'll tell you, Vivekananda Maharaj, when he spoke about Raja Yoga, like this. Let us say you have eaten a mango and I have not eaten a mango, and we are now talking about it. Now, there will be a lot of difference between what you will speak and I will speak, naturally, because one has experience, another has not experienced. But Patanjali Maharaj has experienced it. Vivekananda Maharaj had experienced it. Panchashikha Maharaj had experienced it. Vyasa, Vijnana Bhikshu, all those who commented, they were all people accomplished. That means Purusha Khyati. Now what happens is, let us say you have eaten mango and I have eaten mango. How will you describe it? You will describe it the way you want to describe it. Actually, you are describing mango only. I will describe it. Also, I have eaten it, so I will also describe it. The two descriptions may not match T to T. The reason being, I would say, such a juicy thing called mango. That means I am focusing on juice aspect of mango. You will say, what a smell it gives. Such a smell, you feel like eating. What is happening? Both are describing a mango. You have taken one aspect of it. Now what happens is, when Vivekananda Maharaj was speaking, you will be surprised, more pronounced in London, less pronounced in America. While speaking on Raja Yoga, he used to go into that state. Sir, in London, Vivekananda Maharaj, while speaking on Raja Yoga, actually went in Samadhi. So whatever he spoke was not something from the book. He was speaking from the Anubhuti. Simultaneously, he was having Samadhi. Simultaneously, he was speaking. Gunatita and in the Guna. So the words were coming out with absolute weight of the experience that he was having at that point of time. That is why you sometimes find the description of experience slight deviation in each of these great stalwarts. So it is just a way of talking. If you read The Master as I Saw Him by Bhagini Nivedita and Londoner Vivekanande, a book in Bengali written by Vivekananda's brother who was present at the time of Raja Yoga lectures in London, both of them have written that when Swamiji was speaking, everybody was in Samadhi. They felt that the sound of Swamiji is coming from miles away, some source. Pristine, pure sound was coming to their ear. People were sitting on the staircase, outside the windows. The hall was full. There was no mic, yet everybody could listen to what he was saying. 90% of the audience was British, who had never even heard the word Brahman, Atman, Viveka Khyati, Purusha, nothing of that kind. They had not studied any of the Shastra, no Bhagavad Gita, nothing. Yet every day they were coming and basking into the glory of the knowledge. You think that is normal? No, sir. It was an actual conduct of Samadhi experience and teaching happening at the Acharya of the level of Vivekananda. Hari Om.
Sanjay ji, also this in Advaita, there is something, Sapta Bhumika and all that, Shubhecha and all that. How is that connected here?
Yes, see, that's the Bhumika, Shubhecha, Vicharana, etc. That is actually moving upwards of the same buddhi towards Pradnya. So those Sapta Bhumikas are movement of buddhi from Shubhecha to the Antim state. So this is actually movement upwards. That Saptadha Bhumi that I described is 7 characters of the one who has already reached. These are 7 steps, Shubhecha, Vicharana, etc. After reaching the 7th state of Shubhecha, Vicharana of Advaita, at that highest stage, the characters that are exhibited are of 7 types which I described. So there is a difference. Hari.